Remote control vehicles. Have you ever wanted to destroy your enemies without any risk of dying? Well, all you simply need to do is purchase 2 of these little toy cars, and an infinite KD ratio will be yours. RC vehicles might just be the most overpowered feature in current GTA Online. Even worse than the Oppressor Mark II, even worse than the Orbital Cannon, and in my opinion, it's even on the same level as God Mode. But why do I think that? Well, let me start at the beginning. The RC Bandito was added during the Arena War update on the 11th of December 2018. As you can see, this toy car is very little. It is also very quiet. Wow, just look at the little tiny man inside the car. I hope he's ready to drive an explosive payload into his enemies later. This, paired with the fact that all RC vehicles are hidden from the player's radar, means it is, arguably, the most stealthy vehicle in all of GTA Online. Not too long after the release of the RC Bandito, it was given a younger brother, with the Invade and Persuade RC tank being added on Christmas Day in 2019. It shares many similar features to the Bandito, however, it does differ with superior armor, taking 5 rockets instead of 3. As you can see, regardless of any other factors, these are incredibly effective vehicles for PvP combat. Stealth options like permanent off the radar will universally give you a huge advantage over your opponent, and these RC vehicles, paired with their weaponry, are no different. Where these vehicles were likely intended to excel was to grant the player a couple of sneaky frag kills, with a cooldown restricting the RC vehicle's use after it has been destroyed. This cooldown is actually the very reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place. The RC vehicles, due to their short cooldowns, can kinda actually be used forever. Thanks to overlapping cooldowns, these RC vehicles can be used indefinitely, since by the time you've finished using one, the cooldown on the other has already ended. To explain how this works, we need to examine the timers on the RC cooldown. The RC Bandito has a cooldown of 1 minute, and the RC Tank and Imani Tech RC both have a cooldown of 2 minutes. Let's say your RC Bandito has just been destroyed. If you only had one vehicle, or if the cooldown was shared across all of the RC vehicles, you would be locked out from any RC vehicle. However, they all have separate, individual cooldown timers isolated to each respective vehicle, meaning that if one gets destroyed, and you enter another, whilst you're using it, the cooldown for your first vehicle will be ticking down in the background. As a result, you can wait out the timer from total safety, then attack your opponent. Once this vehicle gets destroyed, you can then enter the first vehicle and repeat the cycle all over again. It's a self-perpetuating loop that's incredibly annoying, if not absolutely impossible to fight against. Considering you can't technically be killed whilst using them, since no score is given after you destroy one, you are also effectively immortal if you keep using this loop. Now, you may begin to see the problem here. You may be wondering to yourself, is there any possible counters to such an epic playstyle? And luckily, there is. Like mutually assured destruction, the only winning move against these players is to not play against them at all. There is a problem I have observed with GTA Online free mode PvP, and it's likely something you're all aware of and experienced yourselves. I have a game theory. My theory essentially boils down to this. Like every perfectly played game of chess, all GTA Online free mode fights, if both players are willing to use absolutely any tactic to win, not accounting for fun or anything like that, literally only winning, every fight like this will always end in a stalemate. Every single fight is destined to end with one or both players refusing to fight any further. And that's solely because of the fact that there are simply too many uncounterable tactics in GTA Online. Of course, you can hide from an RC spamming rat. That's technically a counter, but you can't fight back against it. It's literally impossible to gain score while fighting an RC. You can only ever lose it. It's the same with the orbital cannon or submarine missiles, for example, as well. You can hide from them, but it's impossible to fight against them. In GTA Online, there is no objective, no defined win condition like in other games like CSGO, like winning a round.
You are not, why are you dying in bed all the time?
Or Fortnite, where you're the last player standing. GTA Online is a sandbox game where you can choose your own playstyle and goals, and as a result, the win condition for every player will be subjective. Naturally, by giving players total freedom to pursue their goals, inevitably, some of those goals will be incredibly stupid. Since for PvP, the only thing that can be considered a win condition is the scorecard shown after you kill someone. As long as my score equals bigger than your score, even if that's only by 1, technically, I can consider myself the winner of this fight, and I am the superior player. This is obviously dumb, since you're removing all context as to how that score was achieved. But technically, because score is all we have, you did kinda, quote-unquote, win the fight, since that's the only win condition that exists. As a result, the most optimal way to win a fight is to adopt the tactics with the highest lethality, whilst also reducing any potential risk of death. Perma-camping the orbital cannon and RC spamming, whilst never doing anything else, is going to be the most effective strategy to win. But it's catastrophically boring to play like this. At this point, you may as well have just burned the money it costs to buy the game. Even then, at least the orbital cannon can be only shot once every 45 minutes. Fuck! Obviously, not everyone wants to play like this. But for those that prioritise fun in their video games, a foreign concept for GTA Online players, I know, these players are always going to be at a disadvantage. I may want to snipe or mess about with vehicles, but if my opponent decides to utilise a tactic I cannot counter, I can either stick to what I was doing and lose the fight, or I copy their tactics and the fight becomes a stalemate. To have the best chance of winning a fight, you literally have to sacrifice your own fun. At that point, why do we even play the game? The worst part is that Rockstar enable this behaviour. Thanks to Rockstar's general incompetence in balancing the game, they allow tools that provide 100% lethality with a 0% chance of death. Essentially, in practice, legit God mode, which every single player has access to. Where the RC vehicles were concerned, it actually never used to be this way. There was once a time where if you managed to destroy an RC vehicle, that would count as a kill against the player using it, which gave it some semblance of risk versus reward to use. In other words, it had balance. However, Rockstar removed this feature. I don't know about you, but where there is any tactic that provides kills, without that player risking any risk of death, it should either be removed completely from the game, or change it so the player can die whilst using it. There should be no item, no tactic, no tool in GTA Online that allows a player to win without the possibility of losing. Hope you enjoyed this kinda pseudo-schizo ramble about RC vehicles. I think RC vehicles are a pretty interesting avenue to explore the idea of these GTA Online stalemates I've observed in PvP. Remote control vehicles are definitely fun, and I do like them a lot. They all just need a little bit of work to make them a bit more balanced. Either way, hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.